Hello everyone, welcome back to Steam Code. In this video, I will show you how to connect your Arduino board to a Wi-Fi network. Now for this project, I will be using an Arduino Mega with an AdaFruit WinC 1500 Wi-Fi board, or Wi-Fi shield. Now you don't have to use these two devices, but I'll leave them down in the description below so you know exactly what to get if you want to replicate what I am doing directly. But you can use whichever Wi-Fi shield you want and whichever Arduino board suits you. Alright, so let's just jump into it. So I'll assume you have a basic understanding of how to use the Arduino IDE, which is what I have open right here. So I have two files, the normal setup file, and then I also created another file called secrets.h. And you can create another file with the Arduino IDE by just pressing Control, Shift, and N, and then naming your file, and then press OK. So the secrets.h file will contain our Wi-Fi SSID and our Wi-Fi password. So let's just define those real quick before we move into the actual bulk of the project. So I'll say char Wi-Fi SSID. Now this is an array, so we need the brackets, and then place SSID here. I won't place mine, but you can place yours in that location. And then char Wi-Fi pass. You can place your password here. All right, now once you have these saved, move into your main project file, and let's just jump into it. So above the setup function, we're going to want to define a few variables and include a few dependencies. So we'll say include spi.h will also include Wi-Fi 101.h, and lastly we need to include the secrets file that we just created. So include secrets.h. Alright, and let's define the IP address that will be constraining to the Arduino device. So we'll say down here, IP address. We'll define the subnet to be 255.255.0.0. And this is the subnet mask. And then let's just copy this two more times because we need to define the local IP address and the gateway address. So the gateway address will be 192.168.1 and 1 for me. Now make sure you set these addresses to whatever applies to your application, but these are the ones I'll set to mine. I'll set my local IP to 192.168.1.184. Alright, so now we have the IP address set. And now let's define the status of the Wi-Fi shield. Now the initial status we'll just set to idle, and then we can change that status and check it as we move along in the project. So I'll say int status is equal to wl underscore idle underscore status. And let's define the port that we will communicate over in future videos. So unsigned int local port. We'll set that to 4000. Now remember, you can set that to whatever you'd like. And let's initialize the server. So we'll say Wi-Fi server Now let's pass 80. Okay, so now we're ready to head into the setup function. So within the setup function, we're going to want to begin the serial. So serial.begin 9600. And now you can use whatever baud value you want. I'll be using 9600. And now we need to wait for the serial to begin before we start initializing our Wi-Fi connection. So I'll say while not serial. So while the serial has not begun. And then let's just put a comment in here saying that this will wait for the serial port to connect. And remember that this is necessary only if we have native USB ports. If you don't, then you don't need to do this. And now we need to check for the presence of the shield. So we'll say if Wi-Fi dot status is equal to WL underscore no shield. So if the Arduino board cannot recognize our shield, then we'll print that the shield is not present. So serial.println Wi-Fi 101 shield not present. All right. And then we obviously don't want to continue with the rest of the initialization process. So let's just say don't continue, and then while true, we're just going to loop. So remember, this while true will just loop infinitely because true is always true. All right. So if the status is not no shield, so if a shield is connected, it'll move past this entire if statement, and we can say Wi-Fi dot config, and this will configure our Wi-Fi network. So we'll pass the 3 values we created above, which is the local IP, the gateway, and the subnet. So we'll say local underscore IP, gateway, and then subnet. And then now we'll need to attempt to connect to the Wi-Fi network. So while status is not equal to WL underscore connected. So while the board is not connected to the Wi-Fi, we'll print attempting to connect to SSID, and then you can just print the SSID that you have. So serial.println SSID. So I'll just say place SSID name here. All right. And then we can actually begin the Wi-Fi connection. So status is equal to Wi-Fi dot begin Wi-Fi underscore SSID, and then Wi-Fi underscore pass. And remember, we define these 2 values within our secrets.h file. All right, and then since we don't want this to be running every few milliseconds, we'll just delay for 10 seconds so we can give it some time to actually connect. So delay for 10,000 milliseconds. And then once it's connected, we want the server to begin. So we'll say server.begin. And once it passes this begin function, we can print connected. All right. And once you have this down, you can just upload it directly to your device and you'll see if it works. So I'll run a little test. I already have all of this code written, so I won't save this file. I'll run a different file that I have, which is right here. And I'll upload this file to my board and we can test to see whether it's connected to my network. All right, now that it's done, we can open the serial monitor. So now that we have the serial monitor open, as you can see, it says here, attempting to connect to SSID, and then I said, just place your SSID name here. Let's give it some time to connect. All right, then now that it's connected, we can actually test it. So I'll open up an Ubuntu shell that I have here, and let's just ping it a few times to see if it's actually connected. So we'll say ping, I'll just say -c. Let's go with 8 times. And what's the IP address again? This is 192.168.1.184. And let's just test it out. All right, so as you can see, we had 8 packets transmitted, 8 received, and 0% package loss. So we know that this is connected and it's working as intended. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe to Steam Code. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section down below. And I'll see you in the next video. We can do some bigger and better projects. Leave a comment down below to see what other projects you'd like to see with Arduino. And I'll see you in the next one.